What is good with you, YouTube? Dog lovers out there in general. It's your boy Brian from Gorilla Tone Bullies, man. It's early Sunday morning. I'm still halfway asleep, so forgive me. Just sitting out here looking at these two fools going at it like they always do. They can't just sit down and have a nice little conversation amongst themselves. They always got to be tussling, wrestling, biting, licking, mounting, humping. Okay, now they chilling. But pretty soon you're finna hear him get riled up again. But listen, I'm just out here, man, and looking at these two. And Pedigree runs across my mind, man. Pedigree is so important. I've made videos on top of videos about this, but it's really important. And there was a time where I didn't think much about Pedigree. I didn't. And I wasn't brought up like that. Because I had a brother that bred pit bulls way back in the day. And he used to push me off on so much information about breeding. But when I first started, some years back with these American bullies, I always thought, man, you put two nice bulls together, that's what you're gonna get, a nice litter. And sometimes that's the case, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that. It's they got to have good bulls behind them. There's so many different ways you can look at it, so many different avenues and scenarios you can put into play when it comes to breeding. But I think most important is pedigree, because you can have a stud, and he might be a proven stud. He's got litters on the ground, but is he a producer? Is he a producer? Can he, help the female produce something like him or better? The first major producer that comes to my mind is Dax. He's produced dogs that looks like him and that look way better than him. That's a producer. Anybody can have a stud, but can they help that female produce something that looks like him? and I say help that female for a reason. There's so many. I just talked to somebody recently, man, that I really don't want to get into it, but they pretty much put their stud on a pedestal like he's the only one doing the work. He did that. He did this. He did that. He produced that. He didn't spit that pup out of his butt himself. That female was, had a hand in it too. You know what I'm saying? Especially if she's got good bulls behind them. I just never understood that. It takes two. And I understand when people say, I want to see what my male can do. I want to see what he can produce. But this person, man, had his stud way up here, man. Like he was real, arrogant about it, And I don't know, that's just how some people feel, but it always takes two. When I drop my litter, when Nezuko stop tripping and finally go in the heat, they both gonna get the credit. I ain't gonna be like, it's just Jay, nah, man. Jay's gonna, put in some attributes in there, excuse me, and Nezuko is. So, but, let me back up. Let me backtrack. It's gonna be a long video. My brother used to breed pit bulls. My oldest brother used to breed pit bulls back in the day. He used to spit blue pit bulls out left and right. The first blue dog I ever seen was my brother. I remember being at his house and he was like, yo, man, I got this pit bull up in the sale. This nurse going to come over to the house and buy a pit bull. Yeah, it was a female and she blue. And I was like, man, this is back in 2005, 2006. I said, man, ain't no such thing as no blue dog. What you talking about? And I was in my mid-20s, And he was like, all right, I'm finna go get the pup. Because he had land that he kept his dogs on, Not in his home. Because he couldn't keep the pit bulls there. He lived in a really nice neighborhood, big old 2-story townhouse. Still there, as a matter of fact. And, hey, get back. Don't hit my camera. You especially you big horse. And there's the code. So he went out to his, establishment, came back with a dog, and I'm like, oh my goodness, man, I ain't never seen a dog this type of color. I'm like, well, ain't that gray, or some kind of silver? And he was like, well, they call it blue. I'm like, okay. But, and I went out with him to feed his dogs one time, and he had this female named Red Pepper. Red Pepper she wasn't a trained wreck, but she didn't look that good. He said, man, that's my female right there, man. That like every time I drop a little with her, people come from all over, bro. And I'm like, why? She don't look, you got all kind of these other dogs that look better than her. Why? He's like, man, it's a lot of times it ain't got to do with the representation. It's got to do with what's behind that dog. She spit fire. He said, I can bring her to any male on this yard, regardless of how they look, and she gonna help them spit fire because she's got a major pedigree behind her. I don't remember the pedigree because I wasn't into pit bulls back then, man. I mean, I seen them, I liked them. We had some as kids, but I didn't think much of it because we had all kinds of dogs. We had labs, we had chows, we had Eskimo Spits. I think that's how you pronounce it. Chihuahuas. We had all kinds of dogs. And you know what's crazy? I know I'm going all left and right. Back in the day when we had dogs, man, them dogs took care of themselves. They stayed outside year-round in the doghouse, chained up. A lot of times they didn't even eat kibble. They just eat scraps. Leftovers what we ate. We throw it to them, and they would live for years, man. But now, I'm up in here. These dogs live in lavish. We got heat right there. We got cold air right there. You know, they got food, and they kept up good, and we treat them like real people now. But back in the day, I know when I was coming up, dogs just took care of themselves, you know. They never wormed them, never done nothing like that, man. We didn't know, you know. We was kids, and we were not the type of family that kept dogs in the house. If you brought an animal in the house and my mama found out about it, it was gonna be some smoke in the city. She did not play that. But now look, these dogs are living better than us. But anyway, back on my the subject at hand. He taught me that years ago, that it ain't necessarily how the dog looks, it's the pedigree behind that dog. You got a dog that's got good bulls behind him, and you put it with another dog that's got good bulls behind them, you have an indication of what you're going to get. You know, and somewhere along the line, I just got away from that, and I was like, man, I'm going to put two good-looking bulls together, and it's going to be a wrap. Not necessarily, you know. Like with Jago, Jago's pedigree is nice, y'all. I tell y'all that. It's nice. And is Jago a good representation of his pedigree? I believe so. Now, there's a handful of dogs that look better than Jay in his pedigree. But that's fine because it's his pedigree. But there's some dogs that don't look as good as Jago in his pedigree. You know what I'm saying? His top and bottom is fire, man. Especially his bottom. His mom's side of the pedigree, oh my goodness, man. We talking about champions on top of champions. 2 or 3 excuse me, 2 or 3 grand champions in there. And Jago's a great representation of that pedigree, man. And with Nezuko, her top side is crazy. Her top side is basically eminence. You know, you got Drake in there, you got Boss in there, you got all kind of eminence blood, eminence dogs in there. And with Jago, it's just like, man, I got Chomper, we got Channel Omega, Lucky Luciano, Louis V, Micro Magoo. List goes on and on with him. Homicide. And I feel like we're going to get some really, really nice pups. Now Nezuko's bottom half isn't near as good as her top half. And definitely don't hold a candle to Jago's pedigree, top and bottom, period. But she's got a good top half pedigree, man. Plus, she's got a lot of bone. And I just want to put that together, man, and see what we going to get, man. And I got a feeling, even though it's been over a year, like I said it would be, I figured it would be, something's telling me that this girl is probably going to be going in the heat pretty soon. Her birthday was, I think, the 3rd. It's now the 22nd. So she's almost a year and a month. And I think we're getting close. But pedigree is so important, y'all. Very important. And a lot of times you have dogs with great pedigrees, and we'll look past them because they don't really fit the bill with you. You know, they don't tickle your fancy when you see them. It don't matter what dog I'm looking at now. I'm like, man, what's the pedigree? Can I see the pedigree? You know what I'm saying? Because they may not be a great representation, but they might spit that fire, male or female. You just never know. So always study that pedigree because it's so important. Somewhere along the lines, I got away from what my brother taught me years ago. But I'm back now, homie. We back now. And with my females, they're going to get better and better. Better and better. When Nezuko's done dropping and done breeding and I retire her out, the next female is going to be better than her. Better than her. Better than her. Better than her. You know what I'm saying? And even with my males, you know, it's supposed to be this way, man. You want to breed for better quality. You want to breed for health. You want to breed for look, whatever. But just make sure when you're breeding that you dropping litters This just gonna overshadow your last letter in every avenue. Health, looks, just me, more importantly, structure, how they move, how they get around. And yeah, man, your pedigree, bro. You gotta search that pedigree and research that pedigree because it's important. I recently took Jada PetSmart the other day, and I don't usually take Jago to establishments and stuff like that because people they see me, the short, stocky, black dude, bald with the big beard with Jago, and Jago half the time he's snorting, and a lot of people misinterpret that as him growling. They just get freaked out, man. Like, we can clear a whole park. Like, I take him to the park all the time and walk him. And if there's people there and they see me, there are people walking along the park trail, they'll leave. And I'll just pretty much have the park by myself. They just get freaked out. No, okay, whatever. And then when I'm driving with him in the ride, man, that dog look like a killer, bro. Killer, man. He might look like that, but and a lot of times it's got to do with me and how I look. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the most inviting demeanor because I don't smile a whole heck of a lot. But when I'm with my family, especially when I'm at work, I don't smile at work, man. Because I can't stand being there, to be honest with you. But when I'm around my wife and my daughter and my dogs, I'm smiling, man. But surprisingly, when we went to PetSmart, people were flocking in to us, man. Oh my God, he's so cute. Jago was eating it up because he loved people. And I'm surprised on how calm he was holding back because he wanted to jump on them people so bad. I mean, he was letting them pet him and but man, if you'd have seen his tail, his tail, gave the indication like, man, I'm finna flip out, Dad. I want to jump on somebody's head and but I was surprised on how people, were, willing to come up and talk to me and pet Jago. And he turned heads. Now, Nezuko, she loved people too, but Nezuko just can't stay on the ground. She always jumping and leaping and jumping on you, man. She jumped on me the other day, man. Pull my pants down. I picked Jago up, just playing with him outside. Man, I had my back to him, man, and she jumped up trying to get to Jay and pulled my pants down, man, trying to get to him. And she do that with people. She love people too, but she a big goofy son gun, man, and want to just love on everybody, jump on everybody. And I ain't finna catch no case for her just trying to get some love from somebody. So I can't take her into, establishments like that. I got to ease her into it. But she goes to the park too, and we get her out too. She don't like riding like Jago. Jago, man, he'll come outside, and the first thing he do is go mount up on my truck, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? She'll ride if Jago ride, but by herself, she don't want to ride, man. She be looking so sad, so scared if Jago went in there. You were taking her to the bed, you open the door, I'm like, man, you gotta perk up or something, man. People gonna be thinking the wrong thing right here, bro. But if Jay ain't with her, she ain't with it, man. But yeah, I just wanted to holler at y'all, man. I'm rambling all over the place, but I'm blessed. I'm feeling good, healthy, eating right again, working out hard again. I'm just blessed, man. So y'all pray for me. I'm gonna pray for y'all. Respect all, fear none. God bless. Holler at you.